I am lying in my bed right now, staring at the ceiling while my husband snores softly beside me, and all I can think about is another man's hands on my body. 3 nights ago, Michael, my husband of 18 years, suggested we swap partners with our neighbors. I laughed it off. But tonight, we actually did it. I spent 3 hours in Jake's bed while my 58-year-old husband was with Jake's wife, Amanda, in another room. I agreed to this. I wanted to make Michael happy, to save our marriage from the slow death of routine. But now, as I replay every single moment, Jake's breath on my neck, the way he looked at me like I was the only woman in the world, the things he whispered, I realize I have made a terrible mistake. Not because it was wrong, but because for the first time in years, I felt completely alive. And now I cannot stop thinking about him. Before I go any further, I want to take a moment to appreciate every single one of you who has subscribed to this channel. Your support means absolutely everything to me. And to all my new and returning viewers who have not yet hit that subscribe button, I cannot wait for you to do it. That little click is the fuel and energy that keeps powering this channel and allows me to bring you these raw, real stories. Please, do not forget to engage with me down in the comments section. I want to hear your thoughts, your experiences, your advice. Now, let me take you back to where this all started, and introduce you to the people who turned my world completely upside down. My name is Sarah. I am 42 years old, and I have been married to Michael for 18 years. When we met, I was 24 and he was 40, a successful corporate executive with silver starting to thread through his dark hair, confident, established, everything I thought I wanted. He swept me off my feet with expensive dinners, weekend getaways, and the kind of stability my chaotic 20s desperately needed. The first decade was good. Great, even. We built a life together in our comfortable suburban home in Charlotte, North Carolina. I worked my way up to senior marketing consultant at a tech firm. Michael continued climbing the corporate ladder. We traveled. We laughed. We made love regularly, passionately. But somewhere around year 12, things shifted. The passion cooled. Sex became scheduled, predictable, Saturday nights after our usual dinner routine, sometimes a weekday morning if we were both feeling spontaneous, which happened less and less. We still loved each other. I truly believed that. But the fire had dimmed to barely glowing embers. I convinced myself this was normal. This was what happened in long marriages. You traded intensity for comfort, passion for partnership. I was fine with it. Or at least, I told myself I was. Then Jake and Amanda moved in 4 houses down, about 8 months ago. Jake was 38, a financial advisor who worked from home. Tall, athletic build, dirty blonde hair, and these intense blue eyes that seemed to actually see you when he looked at you. Amanda was 35, a yoga instructor with one of those effortlessly beautiful, natural looks, long brown hair, warm smile, the kind of woman who made you feel both welcomed and slightly inadequate. We became friendly. Dinner parties, backyard barbecues, weekend wine sessions on someone's patio. They were fun, energetic, and they had this electric chemistry between them that I found myself envying. The way Jake would touch Amanda's lower back when he passed her. The inside jokes. The looks that said they still could not wait to get each other alone. One night, about 6 weeks ago, Michael and I were lying in bed after another perfectly adequate session of marital sex. I was scrolling through my phone. He was reading a business report on his tablet. "Do you ever miss it?" he asked suddenly. I looked over at him. Miss what? The excitement. The newness. The way it felt when we could not keep our hands off each other. My heart did a strange little flip. We did not talk about this kind of thing. I mean, sure, sometimes. But that is just how marriage works, right? Things settle. He set down his tablet and turned to face me fully. In the dim lamplight, I could see every line on his 58-year-old face, handsome still, but undeniably aging. What if it does not have to be that way? What do you mean? I have been thinking, he said slowly, about us. About how to bring that spark back. I do not want us to just coast into old age as roommates who occasionally have sex. I put my phone down. Okay. So what are you suggesting? More date nights? A vacation? He took a breath. I am suggesting we try something different. Something that might shake us out of this routine. Michael, you are being cryptic. Just say what you mean. What if we explored opening things up? Just once. Just to feel something different. I sat up, staring at him. Are you asking for an open marriage? No. God, no. Not like that. I'm talking about one night. Together. With another couple. A swap. The word hung in the air between us like smoke. Swap. Like we were trading baseball cards instead of wedding vows. You cannot be serious, I said. I am completely serious. Jake mentioned it a few weeks ago. He and Amanda have done it before, with other couples. They said it brought them closer together. My mind was reeling. Jake and Amanda. Our neighbors Jake and Amanda. You discussed this with them? Not in detail. It came up naturally during that poker night last month. Guy talk. But Sarah, think about it. We are both curious. We are both craving something new. What if we did this in a safe way, with people we trust, and just saw what happened? This is insane. Is it? Or is it insane to let our marriage die slowly because we are too afraid to try something unconventional? I spent the next 3 weeks saying no. Absolutely not. It was ridiculous, inappropriate, a betrayal of everything we had built. But Michael was persistent. Not pushy, he never pressured me. But he kept bringing it up gently, logically, painting a picture of how it could work, how it might save us. And the terrible truth. Part of me was curious. Part of me wondered what it would feel like to be touched by someone new, to be desired by someone who did not know every inch of my body, every predictable response. I started noticing Jake differently. The way his arms looked when he was doing yard work. How his laugh sounded. The way he looked at his wife with such obvious hunger. Finally, one Saturday morning over coffee, I heard myself say, okay. One night. But we set clear boundaries. And if anyone feels uncomfortable at any point, we stop. Agreed. Michael's face lit up like Christmas morning. Agreed. I will talk to Jake and Amanda. That was 2 weeks ago. And 3 nights ago, we all had dinner at Jake and Amanda's beautiful craftsman-style home, drank 3 bottles of wine between the 4 of us, talked through every detail and rule and boundary, and then Michael took Amanda's hand and led her to the guest bedroom. Jake stood in front of me, extended his hand, and said, "Shall we?" I took his hand. And nothing in my life has been the same since. The walk from Jake and Amanda's living room to their master bedroom felt like it took both 3 seconds and 3 hours. My hand was in his, and I could feel my pulse hammering in my throat, in my wrists, behind my eyes. Somewhere down the hall, I heard a door close softly, Michael and Amanda disappearing into the guest room. The sound made this real in a way all our planning and discussions had not. Jake opened the door to the master bedroom, and I stepped inside. It was beautiful. Soft grey walls, white linens, dim lighting from 2 bedside lamps that cast everything in a warm, golden glow. It smelled like sandalwood and something else I could not quite place. Clean. Masculine. He closed the door behind us with a quiet click. For a long moment, we just stood there, looking at each other. My husband was down the hall with another woman. I was standing in a bedroom with a man who was not my husband. The absolute insanity of the situation hit me all at once, and I almost laughed. Or cried. I was not sure which. "We do not have to do anything you do not want to do," Jake said softly. His voice was lower than usual, rough around the edges. "We can just talk. Or we can stop completely. No pressure, Sarah." The use of my name sent a shiver down my spine. When was the last time Michael said my name during anything intimate? I could not remember. "I know," I managed to say. "I'm just nervous." "Me too." He smiled, and it was genuine, not cocky or presumptive. "Come here." He sat on the edge of the bed and gently pulled me to stand between his knees. His hands rested lightly on my hips, just resting there, not grabbing, not demanding. He looked up at me with those blue eyes, and I felt something crack open inside my chest. "You are beautiful," he said. "I have thought so since the day we met. I need you to know this is not just about tonight for me. I have wanted you for months." No one had said anything like that to me in years. Michael told me I looked nice. He told me he loved me. But wanted. Desired. That language had disappeared from our marriage somewhere along the way. I reached out and touched his face, running my fingers along his jawline. He closed his eyes and leaned into my hand like it was the most exquisite thing he had ever felt. Then he stood, and suddenly we were eye to eye, his hands sliding up from my hips to my waist, to my ribcage, stopping just below my breasts. Waiting. Asking permission without words. I kissed him. The moment our lips met, everything else fell away. This was not a gentle, tentative first kiss. This was months of tension and curiosity and forbidden desire finally being unleashed. His hands moved up to cup my face, angling my head so he could kiss me deeper, and I heard myself make a sound I did not recognize. Needy, desperate, hungry. We pulled at each other's clothes with an urgency that shocked me. My blouse. His shirt. My bra hitting the floor. His hands on my bare skin, and oh God, they felt different. Rougher, more desperate, like he was starving and I was the only thing that could satisfy him. When we fell onto the bed together, tangled in sheets that smelled like lavender detergent and him, I had one clear thought before thinking stopped altogether. I have forgotten what it feels like to be wanted like this. What happened next was not gentle or sweet or romantic. It was raw and intense and almost animalistic. Jake touched me like he was trying to memorize every inch of my body. He paid attention to places Michael had stopped noticing years ago. He asked me what I liked, what I wanted, and when I was too embarrassed to say it out loud, he experimented until my body gave him the answers. He whispered things in my ear that made me blush even as they drove me absolutely wild. He told me how long he had fantasized about this, about me. He told me how beautiful I looked, how good I felt, how he could not believe this was actually happening. And when he made me come, not once, but 3 times, which had not happened in my marriage in at least 5 years, I actually cried. Just tears sliding down my temples into my hair while waves of pleasure rolled through my body, and he held me through all of it, kissing my neck, my shoulders, my face, telling me I was incredible. Afterward, we lay there in the tangled sheets, both of us breathing hard, covered in sweat, and I felt more awake than I had in a decade. My skin was tingling. My mind was racing. My entire body felt like it had been plugged into an electrical socket. Jake propped himself up on one elbow and looked down at me. "Are you okay?" I should have said yes. I should have smiled and played it cool. Instead, I heard myself whisper, I did not know it could still feel like that. Something flickered across his face, triumph, maybe, or satisfaction, or something deeper that I did not want to examine too closely. "It can," he said. "It should." We lay there for another 20 minutes, not talking much, just touching lazily, his fingers tracing patterns on my stomach, my hands running through his hair. It felt dangerously intimate, more intimate than the sex in some ways. Then reality crashed back in. We needed to get dressed. We needed to go back out there and face our spouses and pretend this was just a fun experiment and not something that had fundamentally shifted inside me. When we finally emerged from the bedroom, somewhat rumpled but dressed, Michael and Amanda were already in the living room. They looked fine. Normal. Michael was smiling, Amanda was pouring wine, and they both seemed completely at ease. "How was it?" Amanda asked brightly, handing me a glass of red wine like we had just come back from separate movies, not separate beds. "Fine. Good." "Yeah, it was good," I stammered, taking a too large gulp of wine. Michael put his arm around me. "You okay, babe?" "Yeah." "You?" "Yeah." "That was interesting. But I'm glad to have you back." We stayed for another hour, drinking wine, talking about nothing important, all of us very carefully not discussing what had just happened. The whole thing felt surreal, like I was watching myself from outside my body. When we finally left, walking the 4 houses back to our own home in the cool night air, Michael held my hand and seemed almost cheerful. "Well, that was an experience," he said. "I think it was good for us, do not you think? Shook things up a bit." I nodded because I did not trust my voice. That night, in our own bed, Michael wanted to have sex. He was energized, excited, more passionate than he had been in months. I went through the motions, but the whole time, I was comparing. The way Michael touched me versus the way Jake had. The sounds Michael made versus the sounds Jake made. The way Michael moved versus the way Jake moved. It was not fair. It was horrible of me. But I could not stop. Michael fell asleep quickly, satisfied and seemingly unbothered by the entire evening. He had gotten what he wanted, a little adventure, a little novelty, and now we could go back to our normal life, enriched by the experience. But I lay awake until 4 in the morning, replaying every single moment in that bedroom. Jake's hands. Jake's mouth. Jake's words. The way he looked at me. The way he made me feel. The next 3 days were torture. I went to work, came home, cooked dinner, watched television with Michael, and went to bed. Everything was normal on the surface. But inside, I was screaming. I kept thinking about Jake. I found myself wondering what he was doing, if he was thinking about me, if that night had meant anything to him, or if I was just another married woman he had slept with. Then, 3 days after that night, while I was sitting in my office staring blankly at a marketing report, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Sarah, this is Jake. I got your number from the neighborhood directory. I hope that is okay. I have not been able to stop thinking about you. We need to talk." I stared at that message for a full 5 minutes, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might be having a heart attack. I should have deleted it. I should have blocked the number. I should have told Michael immediately. Instead, I typed back, "I have been thinking about you too." And just like that, everything got infinitely more complicated. The text messages started innocently enough. At first, Jake and I told ourselves we were just checking in, making sure everyone was okay after that night, being responsible adults about an unconventional situation. But within 48 hours, we were texting every day. Then every few hours. Then constantly. Good morning messages. How is your day going messages. Random thoughts and inside jokes that developed faster than they should have. And late at night, when Michael was asleep beside me and I was alone with my phone in the bathroom, the messages turned into something else entirely. Jake told me he could not stop replaying that night. He told me I had gotten under his skin. He told me he wanted to see me again, alone, without the pretense of couple swapping or anything else. Just us. And God help me, I wanted that too. I became someone I did not recognize. I found excuses to walk past Jake and Amanda's house. I wore makeup to the grocery store on the off chance I might run into him. I checked my phone obsessively, dopamine flooding my system every time his name appeared on my screen. Meanwhile, Michael was the happiest I had seen him in years. He thought our little experiment had worked exactly as planned. He was more affectionate, more attentive, initiating sex more frequently. He thought we had rekindled something. He had no idea that every time he touched me, I was imagining someone else. The guilt was eating me alive. I would lie awake at night, Michael's arm draped over my waist, and hate myself. This was not who I was. I was not a cheater. I was not someone who lied to her husband. But I also could not stop. The pull toward Jake was magnetic, irresistible, stronger than my own sense of right and wrong. 2 weeks after that first text, Jake and I met for coffee at a place 30 minutes outside our neighborhood. We told ourselves it was just a talk, to process what had happened, to figure out what we were doing. We sat across from each other in a corner booth, hands wrapped around our coffee cups, and the tension was so thick I could barely breathe. "This is crazy," I said. "What are we doing?" "I do not know," Jake admitted. "But I have not been able to think about anything else. Anyone else. Amanda knows something is off. She keeps asking me what is wrong. Does she know about the texts? No. But she is not stupid. She can tell I am somewhere else mentally." He reached across the table and took my hand. "Sarah, I need to be honest with you. That night was not just sex for me. I have feelings for you. Real feelings." My heart felt like it was being squeezed in a vice. "Jake, we are both married. This cannot happen." "I know. But it already is happening, is it not?" He was right. Whatever this was, it had already started. The affair had begun the moment I texted him back, maybe even before that. Maybe it had begun the second I stepped into his bedroom. We talked for 2 hours. We agreed we needed to stop texting. We agreed this was dangerous and wrong and could destroy both our marriages. We agreed we would stay away from each other. Then, in the parking lot, he kissed me. And I kissed him back. And for 10 minutes we made out like teenagers against the side of his car, hands everywhere, breathing hard, completely lost in each other. When we finally pulled apart, I was crying. I cannot do this. I cannot be this person. I know, he whispered, pressing his forehead against mine. I know. But we did not stop. Over the next 3 weeks, we met 4 more times. Coffee that turned into making out in his car. A lunch that ended with us checking into a motel 45 minutes from Charlotte, where we spent 3 hours in bed together, and I finally admitted to myself that this was not just physical attraction anymore. I was falling in love with him. The realization terrified me. This was not supposed to happen. This was supposed to be one night, a sexual experiment, something Michael and I would look back on as that crazy thing we did once. Instead, it had blown up my entire life. Everything came crashing down on a Tuesday evening in late November. I came home from what I had told Michael was a late meeting, but had actually been 2 hours with Jake at our motel, and found Michael sitting at the kitchen table with his laptop open. His face was pale, and there were tears in his eyes. My stomach dropped. What is wrong? What happened? I know, he said quietly. I know about Jake. The world tilted sideways. Michael, our phone bill. I was checking the account, and I saw the number. Hundreds of texts. So I looked at the times. All hours of the day and night. While you were supposedly working. While I was sleeping. While we were having dinner together, for God's sake. I could not breathe. Could not think. Could not form words. I called him, Michael continued, his voice shaking. Jake. I called him and asked him if something was going on between you two. Do you know what he said? I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. He said yes. He told me everything. He said he has feelings for you. That you two have been seeing each other. That this all started because I suggested that goddamn swap. Michael put his head in his hands. I did this. I pushed you into his arms because I thought it would help our marriage. How stupid can one person be? Michael, please. Do you love him? He looked up at me with such pain in his eyes that I wanted to die. Tell me the truth, Sarah. Do you love him? I had a choice in that moment. I could lie. I could minimize. I could say it was just physical, just a mistake, just temporary insanity. But I was so tired of lying. I do not know, I whispered. I think I might. But I love you too. I have always loved you. That is not enough anymore, is it? His voice broke. I am not enough anymore. That is not true. This is not about you not being enough. This is about me being selfish and weak and... Stop. He held up his hand. Just stop. I cannot listen to you defend yourself right now. We sat in silence for a long time. Finally, Michael spoke again. Amanda called me tonight too. Jake told her everything as well. She is devastated. She wants to meet with us. All 4 of us. She thinks we need to have an honest conversation about what happens next. What do you want to happen next? I asked, terrified of the answer. I want to wake up from this nightmare. I want to go back to before I ever suggested this insane idea. I want my wife back. He looked at me with such raw vulnerability. But I do not know if that is even possible anymore. 3 days later, the 4 of us sat in Jake and Amanda's living room, the same living room where this had all started, and had the most painful conversation of my life. Amanda looked like she had been crying for days. Her eyes were red and swollen, her usual glow completely gone. Jake looked miserable, guilty, conflicted. Michael looked broken. And I felt like the worst person who had ever lived. I want to understand, Amanda said, her voice shaking. I agreed to that night because I thought it would be fun. A one-time thing. I never thought. Her voice broke. Jake, you told me you loved me. You told me we were solid. How long have you had feelings for her? Jake rubbed his face. I do not know. Months, maybe. I tried to ignore it. But that night, being with Sarah, it just confirmed everything I had been feeling. And you, Amanda turned to me. I thought we were friends. I trusted you in my home, in my marriage, and you have been sneaking around with my husband behind my back. I am so sorry, I said, and I meant it. I never wanted to hurt you. I never wanted any of this. But you did it anyway, she said bitterly. Michael spoke up then. I take responsibility for starting this. I pushed for the swap. I thought I was being adventurous and open-minded, but really I was being selfish. I wanted excitement without considering the consequences. We are all responsible, Jake said quietly. We are all adults who made choices. So what now? Amanda asked. What do we do with this mess? The question hung in the air. I looked at Jake, and my heart ached. I looked at Michael, and my heart broke. I looked at Amanda, and I felt crushing guilt. I think Sarah and I need time, Michael said slowly. Time apart. Time to figure out if our marriage can survive this. And us. Amanda looked at Jake. I do not know, Jake said. I honestly do not know. Over the next 2 months, everything fell apart and somehow, painfully, started to come back together. Michael moved into our guest bedroom. We started marriage counseling with a therapist who specialized in infidelity and non-traditional relationship issues. The sessions were brutal. I had to sit there and watch Michael cry, watch him process his pain, watch him confront the fact that his attempt to save our marriage had nearly destroyed it. But something unexpected happened. In our brokenness, in our complete honesty about how we had failed each other, we started to really see each other again. Michael admitted he had suggested the swap partly because he felt inadequate. He was 58, aging, worried that he could not satisfy his younger wife anymore. He thought if he gave me permission to be with someone else, in a controlled way, it would alleviate his own insecurity. I admitted I had been coasting in our marriage for years. I had stopped trying, stopped being present, stopped appreciating what we had. I had been so focused on what was missing that I had forgotten all the things that were there. And Jake. I had been in love with the idea of Jake. The excitement, the novelty, the way he made me feel desired. But I had not been in love with the reality of what a life with him would actually mean. Broken marriages. Broken trust. A relationship built on betrayal. Jake and Amanda sold their house in January. They moved to another neighborhood, trying to rebuild their own marriage away from the scene of their worst mistake. Jake sent me one final text before he left. Thank you for showing me what I almost threw away. I hope you and Michael find your way back to each other. I deleted his number that day. It was the hardest and easiest thing I ever did. By March, Michael moved back into our bedroom. We did not have sex for the first month he was back. We just slept next to each other, held hands in the dark, and relearned how to be in the same space. When we finally made love again, it was different. Slower. More intentional. We looked at each other the whole time. We talked about what we wanted, what felt good, what we needed. It was not the wild, frantic passion I had experienced with Jake. But it was something deeper. Something real. I would be lying if I said I never thought about Jake. Some nights, I still do. I wonder if he thinks about me. I wonder if what we had was real or just a beautiful, destructive fantasy. But here is what I learned from the worst mistake of my life. Passion fades, but partnership can last forever if you are willing to fight for it. Excitement is intoxicating, but stability is what gets you through the hard times. And sometimes, the grass is not greener on the other side, it is just different grass, and it comes with its own weeds. Michael and I will probably never fully recover from what happened. There will always be a scar. But scars are just proof that something healed. We are not the same couple we were before. We are more honest, more vulnerable, more aware of how fragile this thing called marriage really is. And maybe that is not such a bad thing. My husband suggested a couple swap, and it nearly destroyed us. But in the rubble of that destruction, we found something we had lost years ago, each other. Not the perfect, passionate version. The real, flawed, trying our best version. And some days, that is more than enough. So there it is. My story. The raw, ugly, complicated truth about what happens when you try to fix a marriage by breaking all the rules. I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever been tempted by someone outside your marriage? Have you ever made a choice that changed everything? How did you find your way back, or did you? Drop your thoughts below. And if this story resonated with you, if it made you feel something, think about something, question something, please hit that like button, share this with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything, and I cannot wait to share more stories with you. Until next time, take care of yourselves and the people you love.